Well, that's that. We've heard all 56 songs in the American Song Contest, and that means that we have heard the winning song of the American Song Contest up to this point. As we head into the two semifinals, we're wrapping up heat number 5. We'll predict who we think that's going to be, and I have some predictions on who I think will not only get through the first semifinals, but I think I might know who's going to win this thing. So let's get started. So NBC has decided to yet again throw us another curveball in the competition. As the show opened for heat number 5, awaiting the results of heat number 4, none of the acts were actually present in the audience this time as they were with the first 3. So whether they just weren't invited to come on stage or they decided they were going to go a different direction, they pretty much just announced the 3 qualifiers, Massachusetts, Georgia, New Hampshire, and then moved right on with the show. It was very, very quick. They showed I would say a 5-10 second clip of each act, and then just moved right in to getting to the first song of the night. Not sure why they waited until now to do that. I kind of thought that was going to be a better approach to begin with. You know, have they been housing each act? You know, one, I don't even know if these acts are actually paying to stay there. You know, you have to think about the acts coming from the East Coast. Are you going to pay to keep them there all week just to have them go Monday afternoon to hear their results and then go home anyway until, I guess, the next event that they're in, or if they're out, then they're out. So the way they did that to begin with, I thought was weird. I thought this route made more sense. Just play a clip from the winning entry and move on into the next week. Still kind of a head scratcher on why they decided to wait until now to do that. Now, as for the 3 qualifiers themselves, I'd say this was a pretty big shocker. I thought Nevada was going to be a lock to make it through the next round just because of, one, it is the Crystal Method. It's a big name. And typically the big names, even when they've had bad jury performances, they've still had decent enough televotes to get closer to the top of the list. Now, this week, they didn't even give us a list. We have no idea where everyone outside of those top 4 placed. We don't even know if they announced them in the order that they qualified in. I would assume that they did, because it would be really unlikely for New Hampshire to leap anywhere other than to 4th. Stella Cole was 6th in the juries and moved to 3rd, and then Massachusetts remained at 2nd. So he must have had a decent televote to remain that high. Anyway, I only got 1 of 3 correct. I thought Bree Steeves was going through. I thought Nevada was going through. Stella pretty much was a given, I think. And I didn't think Massachusetts would make it, but he proved me wrong. I guess he really did sell it to the crowd as well. So I went, 6 for 12 right now? Not the best odds. I'm not doing too well.
I'm tired of always losing.
Hopefully I'll do better in the semifinals. Somehow the production of the show got worse again. Going back to the audio, I heard doubling vocals where the backing track wasn't lined up with the singers tonight. I think all of that will be fixed, as they announced early on that if you made it to the semifinals or beyond, you were going to get a custom earpiece. So I'm guessing some of these artists were probably struggling with their, I guess, stock earpieces. That's kind of nasty if they're just passing around earpieces. I mean, it's not like that, I hope. But they're going to get custom ones now. So hopefully they'll fit in their ear a little better. They'll be able to hear the music, the track, and everything, and be able to follow along. So it should be cleaner performances in the semis, I hope. It seems like really only Heat 3 was the one that I felt went off without a hitch, where everything seemed very, very smooth. I guess Heat 4 and part of Heat 3 were probably the 2 smoothest rounds. We also, for some reason, met a juror at the end of the show. I have no idea why. We're here for the songs and we're here for the artists. No, you don't usually go interview any of these jurors or anything, almost like filler. But at that point, why don't you just let Snoop and Kelly perform? That's literally what they've done for decades. Just let them perform, do an interval act or something. Still not quite sure about that decision either. We also got zero details on what's going to happen next week. Are we going to vote in real time? because for semifinal number 2, you can't reveal the results on that Monday of the final, or the acts would either have to be told ahead of time, which they would then leak probably the details whether or not they went through or not, or someone would know based on whether or not they're rehearsing. And they wouldn't know until the day of. So again, I'm guessing starting next Monday, voting is all going to be done that night. And then they'll probably try to wrap up the acts around like 9:30 East, and then announce the 5 qualifiers at like 9:50, 9:55. That's my guess, is that they'll do it all in real time that night. You have to vote that night, and they pick their winners, which I think is fine at this point. If you've gotten into the show and you're voting, you're going to show up for these finals and actually want to tune in and vote and things. So I think they will end up doing that as well. So on to the acts that performed on the night. Ada Leanne, of course, with Natalie, was the jury winner. I think it was very deserved. I think a lot of people saw that coming. That is now 5 ballads in a row, or slower songs, that have won the jury vote. Not a single pop banger has won the jury vote yet. Hopefully that maybe changes in the semis. I think this is a contender to win it all. I really do. When you can bridge country and pop like that, you're going to get a lot of votes. People love an underdog story, and what's more underdog than a singer-songwriter? One of the youngest contestants in the competition, writing a song like that, which is also very different, right? Because it's not being written from the perspective of the girl being cheated on. She's from the perspective that the guy is cheating on Natalie with her. So it's a very different approach from a traditional kind of cheating pop song, I guess you could say. It's very well written, very catchy on first listen. I mean, this is a contender. This is a real contender to win this competition, I think. And the staging was gorgeous. Her vocals were great. Yeah, there's not much more to say. It was a very, very clear jury winner, especially based on what we know about how the juries vote over the last 4 heats. There was no doubt that she was going to take it home. Another one of my favorites on the night was American Samoa, and that was Tanel with Full Circle. It was captivating. It was beautiful. The message of the song is something I think we definitely needed to hear after the last couple years of what we've gone through as humanity, I guess you could say. It has some light island vibes in it as well. I thought the staging was very, very pretty. I will be shocked if this one doesn't go through. I think it's going to be a light fan favorite, and I do think it should get through this heat. And then we get to my home state, the state of Maryland. The dragon himself, Sisqó. He sold that. You know what? It was a pretty cool song. It was a really good performance. Did not think the dude could dance like that at his age, but he's still killing it. It was a very, very simple song. There weren't too many lyrics. It wasn't a lyrical masterpiece or anything like that. It was an entertaining visual experience that brought the music in, that brought his style and his flair in. The juries tanked it, so if he does get to the next round, it's going to have to either be through... he'll either have to make the biggest comeback from the juries, because right now New Hampshire came from 8th. That's the lowest anyone has been with the juries to come back and make top 4. So he would have to do it from 9th, which is a big ask, but I don't think it's impossible. I thought this week was a little lighter. I think he has a chance to make that happen if the fans really get out and vote for him. Another one I'm kind of keeping my eye on is actually Idaho. And the reason for that is in heat number 2, Chloe Fredericks actually got second place overall in qualification. And she had kind of that classic rock feel that we haven't seen too much of during the contest. And I feel that Idaho really did that same kind of thing, that classic rock vibe. So if Idaho gets through to the next round, I think there's a slightly older audience that really appreciates classic rock watching the show and voting along that we're not really accounting for. Especially if Idaho goes through in the 2nd or 3rd position for qualification, then I really have to reevaluate the classic rock vibes doing quite well, and probably both of them make it to the final at that point. I do think Guam got the short end of the stick. It should not have been last in the juries. I would have put New Mexico down there, probably Missouri. Felt really bad for Missouri just because she didn't even know she was going to be on the show until like a week ago, so she had no time to prepare. She looked a little bit nervous up there. I mean, I still think she went up and did a fine job, but it really didn't come together, and for obvious reasons. She didn't have time to prepare. So that was a little unfortunate, but I hope she at least enjoyed the moment a little bit. California is obviously getting through. I know I didn't really talk about that. It was a fine performance. It was very good. It wasn't anything that blew my mind or I think will win. It was just very good, and it's California. People are going to vote for it. So California's through. I'll say American Samoa Tanel gets through. And for me, it's between Sisqó or Andrew Shepard from Idaho. I'm going to say Idaho gets through. I'm going to go with my weird hunch that classic rock is doing a lot better in this contest than we're giving it credit for. And I'm going to say that Andrew Shepard and Idaho somehow sneak through and make it to the final. Would love to see Sisqó, but man, it's a tall ask to come back from that far down and make it into the final. Then we get to our redemptions, of course, New Boot Goofin'. No surprise, it's going on to semifinal 1. And then we have to talk about semifinal 2 and what redemption act goes there. At the moment, it feels like it could be Jewel, but she could reject it, right? She already knows she's probably not going to win the contest. She might go back down for semifinal 2, lose again, and then just have to go home. So we'll have to see how much she really enjoyed her experience. If she did, then she'll probably, I think, get the call back and be our second redemption act. If she doesn't, then I would lean closer towards New York, New Jersey, maybe Nevada, maybe Florida. You know, I honestly don't know. I felt like New Boot Goofin' was the only one that really stood out as the obvious redemption act. Sisqó. You know what? Let's just say Sisqó. If he doesn't qualify, I think it'll be Sisqó. I think they'll pull him back. They spent too much money on all those dragons and all that fire.
Yeah, fire.
They need to use it again. So I'll put my money on Sisqó right now as a redemption. If not Jewel. Jewel 1, Sisqó 2, the others I mentioned 3. And since I don't know if on semifinal 1 we're going to be voting the night of, and I won't actually have a chance to make a video to talk about my projections, I'm going to put them right here on who I think is going to go through from the first semifinal to the grand finals. I think there are 4 songs that are probably not going to make it, and that being Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Montana, and New Hampshire. Good songs. I don't know if they're strong enough to get out of this group. And then the 3 in green, I think, are absolute stone cold locks. They're going through, and that is, of course, Oklahoma, Michigan, and Washington State. Then that leaves you with the 4 others in gray or not shaded in. I think, well, of course, I think 2 of 4 of those will go. Probably 1 from either Alabama and Kentucky, and 1 from either Colorado and Wyoming. So you get 1 extra boppier song, 1 extra kind of slower ballad song. I'm going to make my bold statement right here and say one of those 7 songs is winning the whole contest. I think the winner is in this group. I think it is either the 3 highlighted in green, which I would say are the 3 favorites right now, in my eyes, to win it based on everything we've seen so far. And then the other 4 in white, probably closely on their tail, and have a chance to win. I just think a lot of those other ones that I'm kind of maybe qualifiers, I think they have either a strong televote or strong jury or strong both. And I think that should get, at least a couple of them to the final. But I would be absolutely shocked if Oklahoma, Michigan, and Washington are not in the final. I think they're all absolutely there already. They're waiting, and we'll have to see how it goes from there. I don't understand the decision process for these semifinals, why there are so many more slower ballad songs in this semi, but then you go to the next one and it's mostly more up-tempo. Maybe they're just trying to avoid having a situation where all of the ballads go through to the final or all of the pop songs go to the final or something. I don't know. Anyway, they've made a lot of questionable decisions, these producers, with this show. I'm going to continue to chew them out because they could have done a better job. But in the meantime, let's get excited for the semis, and we will see you next time.